I got kids. I kind of want to be able to like be the cool dad who's in his 50s and still able to like play with his kids, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of starting to like take better care of myself in that regard. And it's honestly helped me a lot with my stress level riding my bike. And I played rugby competitively when I was younger. And that competitive nature, I really, really enjoyed.
Hey, hola, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reliable HVACR podcast. You can watch the video podcast over on YouTube, my YouTube channel. You can listen to the audio on any podcast platform that you listen to your podcast or music on. If you're on the podcast, please leave a 5-star review. Help out the podcast, get it out there. And if you're on YouTube, if you're new here, subscribe, like, comment something in the comments down below. Let us know how you enjoyed the episode. Now, today we have Jason Norman, who is also known as HVACJ604 over on Instagram. So please go look him up, go give him a follow, support a fellow HVAC tech who is a great guy. He does a lot of great, funny content, smart dude as well. But first, let me thank the sponsors of the podcast, helping get these awesome episodes out to you guys. So, have you ever had an annoying issue where you could have resolved it if you just had seen what the other person on the line was seeing? You could be busy, you could be taking calls from either your technicians or your customers, and it could be a nuisance call. It could be like a breaker that was turned off. They don't know how to turn on the system. Your tech is out there and they're trying to explain something over the phone, and you need to see it to help them out. Well, with VIZALOGIX TethrIT Now, you can do that. It's like a FaceTime, like a video call, and you're able to, it's more of a virtual type of deal because you're able to draw on the screen, point out different things, take a photo, and have all these records and that you can use for like training later, and you can kind of go back and see these issues that you helped resolve over the phone. And there's no apps, no downloads, just a text message, and then they can get a link to connect. So the future of remote support has arrived. Learn more at VIZALOGIX.com/HVAC. And with Jobber, that is a CRM that we use. So that is night and day. We used to do paper invoices and I hated it. I hated doing the billing. I blocked off a day to do it, and just took up a lot of time. So once we switched over to Jobber, I don't really spend time in the office too much doing paperwork. A lot of this stuff is already digital in their system. I can schedule jobs, which is maintenance, right? We do maintenance agreements. It reminds me and it reminds the customer, all that is done in the software, automated. And then you can have really nice quoting, invoicing, and then send this out through email, through PDFs, a customer portal, whatever you want to do to have the customer view it and then pay you online. And you can take payments with Jobber. It's a lot quicker than the old mail out a check, mail out the invoice, collect invoices in person, all that stuff. So visit getjobber.com/reliable HVACR. You get a 2-week free trial. You get a really nice discount. They have discounts going on all the time. Go check that out. I appreciate the sponsors of the podcast. So now, please help me welcome Jason Norman, like I said, also known as HVACJ604. He's a fellow HVACR technician up in Canada. So he's in the British Columbia area. So we're going to talk about what it's like, being a tech up there. He does a lot of industrial. He's a gas fitter, He's done the grow rooms. He's done a lot of cool stuff. And, we're going to talk about his journey in the trade, what he does now, how long he's been in the trade, all that good stuff, how he manages his family time because he has a family. He has 3 daughters. It's a lot to kind of balance work and family time, your free time. So, we talk about all that, social media, hobbies, all that good stuff. All right. Okay. So I even have this in my notes. Do you have any dad jokes that you want to get out of your system before we start?
I do actually.
You do, because like I don't know if Ty Brenneman, right?
Yeah.
I had him on the show, and he kept throwing me off with all the jokes. We're like having this, and sometimes he's real serious when he says them, and I'm like, is that a joke?
Okay, well, just so you know, like there's a lot of math in this trade. It's a bit confusing sometimes, but just so everyone knows, 10 plus 10 is 20. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But 11 plus 11 is 22. Okay.
All right, so we're good. All right. So how are you doing, Jay? Or do
I'm
you go
doing
by
really
Jason,
well.
Jason or Jay? What do you
Either
prefer?
one, it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
All right, man. So
Jay's
how are you
fine.
doing?
I'm doing well. The other thing I wanted to get off my shoulder so that all of your loyal listeners understand is I do own Crocs. However, they aren't traditional Crocs. They're just like slip-on sandals that are branded as Crocs. So it doesn't have the full 4x4 mode where you can like flip up the back and
I
have
was
the
gonna
whole
say, like, are
arch
these like?
support.
I thought I was gonna say, are these Canadian Crocs or what's the
No,
difference?
they're just sandals. They're just sandals, but they are Crocs branded sandals. So
Man, my kids are really into that. Like our daughter has the Crocs. She doesn't want to wear anything else anymore. And then my son has those like shark sandals. I don't know if you've seen
yeah.
those.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yeah. Well, you have kids, right? I don't know if they
Oh yeah.
go through their
I
phases.
have 3 daughters, so
You understand.
yeah.
I was like, all right, kids, just now they want to dress themselves and everything. And I'm like, because
Yeah, when they
mine are 10 and 8. They just turned 10 and 8.
Yeah, I have 10, 8, and 4-year-old. So like it was really
Okay.
cool when they didn't have any opinions because then you could just dress
Yeah.
them in whatever it was and it was really
Oh yeah.
easy. But now that they like have opinions on what they want to wear, sometimes it can take a little bit of time to get organized, right?
Yeah, my son doesn't care too much. Like he does have opinions, but like the daughter, it's like I don't like that. I don't like this, and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a deal sometimes. So how's work, man? You're obviously from Canada. What
Yes.
part of Canada are you from?
I'm from the West Coast, so I'm from British Columbia. So I live in like the Vancouver area. I'm just north of
Okay.
Seattle for all my American friends out there.
And I'm a basketball fan. The Vancouver Grizzlies used to be a thing.
That's right, they did. I had the pleasure of actually going to a couple games back when they
Oh,
were.
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Back when they were still up there?
When they were the Vancouver Grizzlies. Yeah. I don't know. That's 20 years ago now, probably it or more, I guess. Eh.
That's crazy because like, I mean, we're older. It's no secret. And I grew up, like I said, I grew up an NBA fan. I watch a lot of basketball, and like I've seen, like Seattle used to have a team too, and now they don't. It's crazy. Like, and that kind of like dates you, and it's like, oh, I
Yeah.
remember that. I remember this. I remember that. So, how's the weather? I see you're wearing like a little jacket there.
Well, I'm hidden downstairs, so it's a bit chillier in the basement. But
Okay.
today was nice. It was sunny. It's foggy though, so usually get a lot of rain out here. We don't get a lot of snow.
Oh, okay.
But we
That's
did have a
different.
little bit of like slushy snow the other day, but it like was gone within 12 hours, 24 hours type thing. But
That's
this
kind of like
morning,
what happens with us when it gets like that cold. Like it doesn't get that cold in Texas, but every now and then there's that freezing temperature. It's like once like every 5 to 10 years we might get snow, but it ends up melting, by the end of the day.
yeah, we've been fortunate. We've had snow. Like I'm a kid at heart. Like I love having like snow around Christmas time. It's so cool. So like in recent memory of like being a father, like we've had snow around Christmas, not necessarily a white Christmas, but snow around during Christmas time, like probably more times than not, to be honest. It doesn't look good for this year though, but
Oh,
it's like
okay.
probably going to be like, I don't know, 10 degrees and raining, or I guess 50 degrees and raining.
Yeah, it's like I think our kids have seen it once in their lifetime when they were like little,
Yeah.
And like I said, it's once every maybe 10 years that it actually snows here. And but if not, we get that like you said, that slushy rain, where it gets like cold enough to actually kind of freeze over like
As
all
a
the windows and stuff.
as a kid, I would like there was a couple like man-made ponds for like water mitigation, and they would freeze over in the wintertime, and my parents would take my brother and I ice skating on there all the time. But as like an adult, I don't remember any time where those ponds have frozen over. You've had like farmers
Mm.
fields where there's just a few inches of water and those are frozen over and people have gone skating on that, but like
Mm.
it doesn't get as cold as it used to be for as long. Like I mean, it'll get to minus 15 Celsius here in the wintertime sometimes for short periods of time, and then everyone loses their minds because like it's I don't know, people just aren't prepared for it, right? Lots of water leaks and frozen pipes
Oh yeah, I was gonna
and
say
low
that
refrigerant charges and stuff like that, right?
yeah, that happens to us. So like you're like I didn't know, well, I didn't realize that Canada has different regions like that where it's like the weather can be different. I just thought it
Yeah,
was all cold and snowy, but
yeah.
Texas has that issue too. Like we don't know what cold is. Like right now, I think today the low was like 43, but then that's only for today. Tomorrow it's going to be 75, and it's probably going to be like a low of 60 or something.
Yeah, see, I'm not a
So
big fan of the heat either. Like the first time I went out to the East Coast was like a long time ago, but like the humidity and the temperature where it's like I'm used to it being like, in the 90s, but not like, the mid 90s and also um a humidex like problem too, where just like you walk outside and it feels like a warm, wet salmon just like hits you across the face. It's just instant sweating and gross and not fun.
yeah, man, that's the thing we deal with too is the high humidity. So it feels real nasty a lot. And I'm by the coast too, so we have that whole ordeal where it's like the humidity, the moisture in the air, and the closer you get to the coast, all the rust, the salt air, everything that messes with the units and stuff. So I get a little bit of all that kind of stuff, but like what I was saying is it doesn't get cold here. So like the guys that I like to watch on Instagram and YouTube and all that, if they do like no heating stuff, I get really really intrigued because I never see that. I never work on that.
Oh,
Around
cool.
here, around here, when it gets into the 50s and 40s, we just turn off our AC and open up the windows because then it's like free air conditioning. So
So
we
like
don't run heating.
I'm a refrigeration mechanic, HVAC mechanic, Red Seal, but like I'm also an industrial gas fitter as well. So like I have
Mhm.
unlimited BTUs of what I can like fire for gas appliances. So like it's not uncommon. Like I work on smaller stuff, I want to say, like maybe like less than 10 million BTUs is pretty common for like a commercial building for um heating systems, but more and more now as the larger boilers that were originally installed in these older buildings are being cut out for high efficiency boilers, you're just seeing like modular boilers be installed in place. So it's like a bunch of 750 or million BTU systems. But like I have lots of processes that I run higher boilers for like making steam and making oil to like heat furnaces or sorry, heat ovens to make like bread and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, and we had like around here we have more electric heat, so that's what I do see when I do work on stuff. I used to work on gas, back in the day when a restaurant had like what do you call it, like a one of those rooms where that like a party room, like
Okay.
those little banquet hall, or I don't know what you call them, but the restaurant has like an area that they seclude for parties and different things. I'm just it's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't remember, but for those, they really are worried about like the cooling and the heating. They have to make sure everything's working because like the party, that's a lot of money for them.
Yeah.
And so that's the last time that I worked on gas is when we had those bigger restaurants. And now I just see a lot of electric. That's a big thing here is everything's electric heat.
Definitely easier to work on electric heat than it
I
is
know
like big gas fired
it's
stuff.
like
But
stupid simple. You just go there and it's like, oh,
yeah,
okay, it's one of like a couple of things.
yeah, contactor and some safeties and away you go, right? You
Yeah.
don't need to worry about carbon monoxide setting combustion, none of that.
And the thing is, like, I go behind companies sometimes, right? And sometimes I'll pick up a new customer, whatever it is, and they're like, "Man, our heating doesn't work, but we just got this new unit like not too long ago." It's happened more than once, a handful of times that I go up there and we start disassembling the panels I'm like, where are the heaters? Like they didn't even put the elements in. I'm like, I have to go back down there and tell them, well, you don't have any heating. That's the problem. So we can quote you, we can get you some heaters and put them in. It's not the end of the world, but like whoever installed it just didn't feel like doing it, I guess.
Yeah, it becomes a problem if they don't have the electrical infrastructure already in place. If it's just a simple matter of they forgot to order heaters in the new unit, that's not a big deal. But if you have to pull new
Yeah.
conductors and breakers and find ampacity in a panel to run electric heaters, that can be a bit of a problem.
Yeah. So I guess, they just never, or they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Right now, we've had to quote some systems. Well, not right now, but maybe like within the past year or so, where like they're like, yeah, we have the unit in stock. We'll get you squared away. We're buying it for a customer, and then it's like, but the heating kit is not in stock. You got to wait for that, and then we got to like deal with that ordeal. I don't know if it's still bad or not. We haven't done a change out in a while, but
Mhm.
parts, like getting parts is a thing now too. Like waiting on parts.
For all my I have a lot of commercial customers, that's, like, basically what we do, but, like, for all my commercial customers that, like, have clean labs or, like, basically any sort of process cooling or dehumidification system where you can't, shut down the process, they might only allow you to, like, shut it off once a year or twice a year to go in there and do general maintenance, but, like, for them to be down is, like, not really an option, so, we've always, like, kind of trained them to, like, "Hey, you guys need to have a parts cabinet with some spare parts on site. Here's, like, some not s you don't necessarily need to stock multi-thousand-dollar control boards, but, like, some basic sensors, stuff like that," and then training them that, like, this is what you should keep on site, and then you look like a hero because you show up, you have the parts there, and you can put the OEM parts back in and get them up and running right away when they have an issue. It's honestly so less stressful for us and for them to, like, have a little bit of a piggy bank at different customers, whether it's in the unit or, like, in their maintenance shop to have some spare parts.
Yeah, because like that, and that's another big thing that I do just as like truck stock, and I get after my guys all the time. I'm like, you guys see this equipment every day. You know what you need. I
Yeah.
hate when they have to go out for like a solenoid valve, a contactor, anything like that. My truck, I just bought like a bunch of Milwaukee drawers and stuff, and I filled those with capacitors, contactors, everything I need. And you're right, like it's the whole like being a hero thing. It's like they get surprised a lot of the times that like I've noticed. I'm like, yeah, let me just run out to the truck real quick. I'll grab it. I'll get it going in no time. And they're like, you actually have it? Like the other company would always take, their sweet
Yeah.
time, looking for the part for they'd be gone for a couple hours or this or they come back another day or something. So yeah, truck stock is a big thing for me, and I get really upset when I'm working with somebody and it's like, oh, I got to go get the part. I'm like, dude, like you should have had it.
Yeah, I don't stock a lot of motors or anything like that. It's mostly just, like, contactors, relays,
Yeah,
fuses, electrical stuff, just something to, like, be able to bypass something or change something out, but, like, working in, like I live in, like, a pretty populated area, so, like, I have, like, several different refrigeration, HVAC wholesalers, electrical motor wholesalers, electrical suppliers, plumbing suppliers, so, like, if I go up to a roof and it's a critical unit and, like, there's a condenser fan down and the system's off on high pressure, like, I'll just phone up a supply house and say, put this on a hot rush courier right now and send it to me. Here's my address. Here's my contact information. And then it'll be like, it might be $100 to have them like hot
yeah,
rush a fan to me. But in the meantime, I'm disassembling the old fan, pulling it out of the unit, getting it all cleaned up. So by the time the fan gets to me, it's like I had it in my truck. You know what I mean? And then you
yeah,
slap it in there and away you go. There's a cost associated to have it like hot rushed out to you, but I mean, it's certainly a lot cheaper than having like an apprentice or another journeyman drive it out to you, or even me, drive 40 minutes one way, have a
hmm
coffee, chat with somebody there, 40 minutes back, right?
yeah. You're gone for a couple hours.
Yeah, right.
Um, yeah, I was gonna say, or I'll just send the helper to go get it. But yeah, sometimes you're by yourself, and it's just more cost effective to have it delivered to you. I do like that a lot of supply houses do that now. And I've talked to Gil about the whole Blue On thing. I haven't tried it yet, but apparently they deliver your parts too. So
Mhm.
that's just super helpful when you're trying to get that up and running. And the whole cost thing, I know some people worry about it. I would think it's more for residential where they're going to be nitpicking at the invoice, but I do commercial as well, and it's like, they want it fixed now or they want
Yeah.
it fixed yesterday. and they're not gonna care if it's an extra $100 or whatever it is. Like,
No, because you're not sitting in your truck waiting for the part to come. You're getting the thing
yeah, you're doing work
prepped,
still.
ready to go. Maybe you're done and you can't go any further, but guess what? While I'm waiting, I'm gonna go look at their other equipment on site, make sure it's all okay. You know what I mean? Have a little peek, whether we
Yeah.
look after the equipment full time or whether someone else does. You know, now's your opportunity to go talk to the customer and kind of like, see if they need anything else while you're waiting, right? But
And that's a good point, because that's something I tell people all the time. There's like a lot of little things that that we do maybe without thinking, and other people don't even think to do it. It's like you said, like my dad always was like that with me. He's like, "What are you doing standing around? Like, there's always something to do, right?"
yeah, yeah.
So disassemble that equipment, break it down. Sometimes you need to break it down even more, just so to make your life easier, right? You got to access something, and it's like easier just to take off everything at that point.
Oh, for sure.
Uh, and then, like you said, just walk around. Like, I've gotten so much work just from walking around. It's like, that compressor doesn't sound right. You look and it's like the condenser's plugged up. Something's humming, something's not, or taking too long to drop temp. Just walking around and just even talking to the managers, the cooks, like, because I do restaurants mostly, but whoever handles the equipment, like, how's the equipment doing? You have any issues? And the people that actually run the equipment are going to tell you, like, or they're going to be the ones that complain, like,
Yeah.
first, like, oh, it's doing this, this and that, and then their solution is always like, just tell them to get us a new unit and this and that. And I'm like, well, let me take a look at it. That's what I do.
I try to like tell my apprentices and like instill it in them that like this trade is a big game of tag and it's tag you're it. So like whether you worked on unit A or not, you were there maybe working on a different unit, but if unit A has a problem and you just fixed unit B, guess what? It was you that did it and your guy was just here. And whether you were there
Man,
6 days ago or 6 months ago, it's like, "Hey, your guy was just here," right? That's always the comment. Your guy was just
yep,
here and he was up there. So like whether you looked at it or not, just take the onus to like walk the roof. The amount of times I've maybe found a panel that had loose screws and it was just sitting on the ground,
oh
or a
yeah,
disconnect off, or a gas valve off, or maybe someone left a tool behind for you, right? Like have a little walk around the roof and the things that you can find, like you said, to like drum up more business or like talk to the customer, like whether the customer wants you to look at that piece of equipment and diagnose why it sounds horrible or what's going on, I might just have a look at it anyway and just write them
yeah.
up a quote, right? And then if they are like, "Oh yeah, your guy was just here. Now there's something noisy." Yeah, we know. We already sent you the quote. Would you like to approve it, or would you like to like have someone come by again, right?
Yeah, man. Like I and we just switched to digital, because I used to have to deal with paper invoices, a couple years ago. But like, even whether I did the paper ones, I would always run out of room, trying to write it
Yeah.
out. And now it's so much better just typing it out. But I always write as much detail as I can in my notes, right? It's like, what did I do to whatever I was looking at? And then it's like, well, you might want to think about this other repair that it might
Yep.
need, or the equipment next to it didn't look right, or I noticed something on my way out. I write all that in my notes, and then, like you said, I've heard that so many times. It's like, you guys were just
Oh
here,
yeah.
or you were just working on this one, and then like something happened and it's not working anymore. It's doing this now, and it's like, well, if you write it out in your notes, if you talk or spend a few minutes when you get there to talk to them, and a few minutes when you leave, you're covered, right? They
Yep.
have that conversation with you. You tell them what you found, what you recommend. You write it in your notes, and you cover yourself, because. And I mean, I can't speak for residential. I can only speak for commercial, but they will try to blame you for a lot of stuff.
It's
Um,
tag you're it, right? You were here last, so it has to be
it's like, you were
had
just
it had to
here.
have been
Yeah,
Adrian. Adrian was just here, and he did a great job on one of the units, but now something else is funky, right?
I know. And I always have to tell them, like, I didn't even touch that unit. I was like, what are you talking about? Um, and the other thing is, like, well, the other one is, like, we can't really do anything about, but like having everything in writing, and then being able to go back and look at the dates is a big thing for me now too,
Yeah.
because every now and then I get somebody, and it just happened to me the other week. I can't remember what the call was for, but they were like, "Oh, because they told my dad, they called him, and they were like, your son Adrian was just here. He just fixed it." And I was thinking about it, because I'm pretty good at remembering what I worked on, like, at least for like the month, or the previous month. And I can remember far back, you know, not perfect, but I can remember most of it. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that was like a year to a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not under warranty. And sure enough, I looked up the invoice. I'm like, yeah, it's been a year and a half. You might want to tell them that they want to, because they have to do request
Mhm.
work and all that. I'm like, you might want to tell them to put in a request, and then I'll go out because I wasn't there, you know.
So one of my little hacks, like I've been on social media for like a couple of years and I take pictures and videos maybe specifically for that. But before I ever posted on social media, I always had location services turned on my phone. So like you take a picture or video of something and then it like geocaches it on your phone. So like I've been at my same employer for over 16 years now. So I have apprentices or other journeymen who are phoning me and saying, "Hey, where's the access to this area or what unit is it that's supposed to be looking at it?" I can like go into my maps, type in the address, boom, there's like 300 pictures in that location. I can like, it's a lot easier
Yeah.
to cipher through 300 pictures over the last 17 years than it is to be like, hey, what day was I there 10 years ago, right? It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the longer you do this, the more you're gonna like the more work you've done, and it's harder to remember. Like I said, I can remember a few months ago, maybe or a year ago, but that's about it. And that's a good point. That's something that I started doing. I didn't do it for like the first, I don't know, 5, 6 years that
Mhm.
I had that I started doing this, but like the second half of my career, I was like, you know what? Because like I don't know, I was always like a person that liked my privacy. I just always turned everything off on my phones and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, this could be very helpful. I take a crap load of pictures every day at work anyway, right?
Yeah.
Data tags, the conditions of the coils and stuff like that to show my customers before I even did YouTube or anything. And I was like, you know what? I should start turning on that location service because, like you said, you can go and I can just go on the map and then kind of blow it up and go to the different locations and then I can find all the stuff that I had. And more times than not, I'm gonna have pictures of like stuff that I recommended them, right? It's like this
Yeah.
coil is beat up, it's trash. And I can tell them I told you at this time, here's a picture. I took it, I probably sent it to you, emailed it to you. It's so much easier, and that's a good tip too. Is look, I know there's apps that do it now. I think Company Cam is one of them.
Yep.
But like your phone has that built in. Just turn it on because you're gonna be taking pictures, trust me, like every day at work. Like even if you don't do social media, you're gonna take pictures.
And
And it's
sometimes
a, it's a good thing to do.
sometimes you got pictures of your kids that get in the way when you're trying to find data plates there, right? Like what refrigerant was in that unit? Was it 22 or 407C? I can't remember, right?
Yeah, man. And like it's just a good thing to do because you're gonna take pictures, like I said, even if you do or don't do social media, data tags, the conditions of the unit, um, whatever it is, and even doing social media and YouTube has kind of helped me sometimes because then I'm like I did a video on that unit. Let me go back and I zoom in and like try to see what I was working on. So the only thing I can say is take pictures, leave the location service on. There's a tech tip for you.
I have guys that'll call me up, and I have pretty intimate knowledge of all of our customers because I've had some of the customers I've had for my entire career at my one employer that I've looked after for 17 years, right? So you're only as good as the information you get. So like when someone phones you and say, "Hey, I'm working on this unit off the roof ladder to the left and it's doing something funky," and then you're like, okay, well, the disconnects over here and then that's it. But maybe it's a different unit and it's got some other equipment that needs to be locked out in a different order. So like for them even to send a picture of it, or I'll send them a picture, is it this unit? And they're like, how do you have that picture? I'm like, well, I took this picture 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But like, is this the unit, right? Like the fact that I can like FaceTime an apprentice or have them like text me in the field live a unit just to make sure we're on the 100% same page. Because like one of the biggest struggles that I have is like when I'm looking at a piece of equipment, and I'm sure you're the same, you kind of like, I don't know, you kind of go into like matrix mode where you see wiring a certain way, right? You see the mechanical a certain way, and it all stands out in your brain just because you've been doing it for a decade or 2 decades, right? But
Hmm.
when the apprentice explains, or maybe a green journey person explains something to you, like it's kind of hard it's a whole nother training for me to understand what
Yeah.
they're saying and for me to like portray like exactly what I'm trying to like get out of them as well too. So like a picture helps a lot with that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, the technology now is great, right? Like you said, I mean, photos is the basic part of it, but like FaceTiming and all this other stuff that we can do now. and get eyes on it. Because like you said, I'm the same exact way. Because once I started having to help people over the phone,
It's different.
I was like, holy crap, this is like super difficult.
Yeah.
And then the conversation always ends up me saying like, I need to be there in person. I need to see it. I can't like, I'll just go, right. And yeah, and I've had to try to explain that part of it too. Like you said, like it's different when you're working on it. Like I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm nothing like, these guys that actually teach this stuff, but I can fix it. If I'm in front of a
Mhm.
unit, I can fix it in my own weird way. I see it and I'm like, I start tracing wires or I start looking at things. And my dad used to ask me sometimes, he's like, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. I just fixed it. Right. I was like,
Yeah.
I took it apart. I took it apart, checked everything. I found some things here and there, put it back together, and it worked.
There
Um,
you go.
and I'm trying to get better at explaining it now. Right, I've been doing it about 16 years now, and it gets easier, but like it's still like a hard thing to deal with. And it's funny that you bring that up because I've been trying to explain that to people too. I'm like, I don't know. It's like something over the. I'm not a phone person either. Like I don't like to be on the phone for everything. Like I'm more of a text person, but I'm like, no, I like, I have to be there in person. I like to be there and see it and touch it and figure it out. So that's been a struggle too, trying to do the whole like over the phone tech support, I guess.
Yeah, I honestly love it. Like when I see my phone ring and it's like one of my guys calling me, I know they have a problem, and right. So honestly though, it's enjoyable because it's a new challenge, right? Like just sitting there and slaying equipment, whether you're doing a maintenance, whether I'm in the office or whether I'm like um repairing a piece of equipment, like being able to like support the guys and help them achieve their goals to figure out what's wrong with this unit or solve a problem is like super rewarding. I had no idea it was going to be so rewarding when you can sit there and you're like over the phone solve a problem. Maybe it was something really really simple and
Mhm.
they just couldn't see it and they're like, "Wow, you're so smart." And I'm like, "Well, not really."
It's just like, I've seen it a few times. Like
Yeah,
I kind of
right?
know.
You're like,
Yeah,
I've made that
it's
mistake 12 times and this is only your first one. So once you've made it the 12th time, you'll figure it out just like I did.
yeah, that's the most important part is making the mistakes.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, it's rewarding. Like when I do take calls and it's like, like I've seen that before. I know, like check this or check that, and then they get it. It's like awesome. Okay, cool. You called me. I solved it. You're on your way. I don't have to go out there and do it for them.
Mhm.
That's an awesome part of the job too. Okay, so we're like almost like halfway through the episode. I didn't even get to ask you what do you do, if so we can explain to the listeners and the viewers what kind of work do you do. I think it's kind of unique. A lot of guys that I know do either just residential or light commercial, but you do a little bigger stuff, don't you?
Yeah, so I am a Red Seal HVAC refrigeration mechanic, so I can work across Canada with that. And then I have an industrial, a gas ticket, good in the province that I work in because we've just changed. Canada's changing how the gas ticket works, so it's going to be harmonized across the country, like the HVAC stuff is. But I've had my gas ticket for 10 years, so
Well, in the states, every state is different. Like that's what I
yeah.
hate.
So for me, like primarily our customer base now is we used to do a lot of kitchens and residential and smaller stuff, but we've kind of evolved away from that and we're working mostly like commercial buildings, institutional type stuff like care homes, different stuff like that. So it's enjoyable, but like there's a lot to know. It's really a double-edged sword because you're kind of working on like you're also working at bakeries on these like big, huge like oil burners that are basically heating
Okay.
up oil to like 260 degrees Celsius to like heat the bread with like radiant emitters inside these ovens. It's nuts, right?
Yeah,
So
it
it's
sounds
fun
fancy.
because it's always something different. But guess what? That means you need to have more tools in your truck. You need to have
Yeah.
more knowledge. You need to be able to like be comfortable reading through manuals and trying to figure out who the manufacturer's rep is if you can't find the manual um quickly on your phone. That's like a whole nother thing that no one tells you about is like how much you're going to be on your phone trying to find manuals to figure out sequence of operations because you might know how this big burner works, but it's
Yeah.
got a little controller on the side and it's got like maybe 4 or 5 buttons on it. You're like, how does this like $3 million boiler have like 4 buttons on this little screen, and like how do I manipulate it to know what like an A632 error is, and like to go through all the parameters to make sure it's set up correctly, right? It's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, like what you do seems a little, it's up there as far as like commercial work, but I see that too, and that's the thing too. Like when I started, obviously there wasn't like any YouTube, honestly,
No,
and
no.
like when I started like 16 years ago, so there wasn't any YouTube. Manuals were hard to find as well, but like that was the thing. Like if I got in front of a unit that I've never seen before, like, yes, I always tell people that it's the same, refrigeration cycle, right? It's just safeties, and now we have to
Mhm.
deal with control boards and different things. Um, but, like, you need to know the sequence of operation for that specific equipment, right? Ice machines, they all do the same thing, or the end result is all the same, but they all make ice in a different way, right?
Yeah.
You kinda have to know, like, if there's delays, if there's sometimes it does like a half cycle or something like to clean itself before it actually starts. There's different things to that. And that's true. Like you're going to be looking up manuals. And I had to deal with that a little bit as far as like, I felt kind of embarrassed. I'm like, you just have to be honest with the customer. Like, look, let me look up something really quick that's specific to this, right? I need the manual. I need to do something. Give me a few minutes. I'll look it up or I'll call the manufacturer. There was a lot of pride issues I have to get over when I started because I went to school and I got my contractor's license fairly quick. I wanted to get all that out of the way, and then I go out there and you kind of get a little confident when you start fixing things here and there, and you're like, oh, I can do anything. Then you get a piece of equipment you never seen before, and it's like, oh crap, like you need to call for help or call manufacturer or tell the customer that you got to like be back because you got to
Yeah.
look up stuff. Like you got to get over that. That's just that happens to all of us. And like technology nowadays, I feel like it's changing so much
I
that
used to
it's gonna
have
happen more.
I used to have 3 bins. I'm down to like half a bin now. I used to have 3 bins in my work truck, and it was just books, right? So like
Yeah,
if like I would know our for we actually had binders for different customers made up that we knew we had like special purpose HVAC equipment or whatever it might be. So we would have the manuals already printed out. All the guys would have like a little binder for that site. So we knew like some of the manuals for some of the equipment if it was, especially if it was like a critical unit that couldn't go down because it's for like a clean lab or something, right?
yeah,
Um, that was super helpful, but like you don't really need them anymore, because you can find a lot of it online, or we'll leave manuals if they're not printed out like with the equipment if we can. Some manufacturers are better than others, as you know, but like
yeah,
um, I started in the trade and we had like mic phones, and mic phones were like the coolest thing ever because you could like phone, or you could like basically like a walkie-talkie somebody to
yeah.
ask for help. But like just before I came in, like talking to the old timers that like were working in the trade, they would have like they go get the paper invoices for the week, and then they get a roll of quarters, and they all had like CB radios in their trucks, right? Can you imagine
Oh
going
yeah,
up to a roof and like be like, I have no idea what's going on this. Like there's no power anywhere. I can't figure it out. And going back to your truck and then hopping on the CB radio and just praying that somebody is like in their truck to answer. And then, maybe I'm calling out for help, and then Adrian answers, and Adrian's like, what do you need? Okay, go check voltage here, 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 and then come back.
yeah,
So I'll go up on the roof, check those voltages that Adrian asked me to check on, come back down. But now Adrian's not in his truck anymore. And now somebody else is. And they're like, well, did you check this? I'm like, no, I don't understand how anybody. I mean, I guess there's a lot of relays and contactors then. There wasn't as many like control boards with all the
yeah. It's more
magic,
mechanical back
right?
then.
So it was more
Yeah.
mechanical controls, but like, yeah, I'm glad I missed that part of it, right?
I actually know somebody who still uses those radios, but I think he uses it as like a dispatching thing in his vehicles for his company. But yeah, like even just phone calls back then, it was like you're playing phone tag with people,
Yeah.
right? Like trying to call for help or even if it's like somebody in your company, like they might get busy and then like they can't call you back or whatever it is. So there was a lot of that going on back then. It's a little easier now, like you said, you can go online for most things and
Yeah.
find manuals. And that reminded me, I just had that issue recently because I work in hospitals too. Uh, Mostly just in the kitchens. We try to stay in kitchen kind of work, but they had just bought a lot of new equipment, a lot of new reach-in coolers, and like I had never seen one of these before. It was a brand, I think it's called Dynex. I had
Okay.
never seen them before, and the ones that they replaced were different. Like the evaporator was in a different location, but it's basically a stand-up reach-in cooler that they put a bunch of trays in, and it's like where they store like the jellos, the drinks, and everything, because they're making the little plates for like the patients. So like that's where they get everything out of.
Yep.
So they have like a few of these stations there, and one of them wasn't working, and I didn't know what it was, and I kind of misread the label a little bit because it was a cooler slash freezer, right? I saw a solenoid in there, and I was thinking that the solenoid was bad or something, because I'm like, "Where's my refrigerant?" Right? And I called. They were not the most helpful. That was one of the worst ones I've had. Um, he even thought that was a pump down solenoid, right? And I'm like, okay, okay, like I'm trying to figure it out, and then I was like, I think I tried explaining to him what was going on, and he was very quiet. I was like, dude, like help me out here. So I had to hang up, and then like he tried sending me a manual, which was like for the wrong model, because there was like an update to the model within the past couple years. I was like, that's not the model I have. It's the same like model number, but it's like the updated model or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
And I finally took it apart, and that was a hot gas valve, a bypass valve. And I was like, dude, like you couldn't tell me that over the phone. So
Have you ever worked on like environmental chambers at all?
no, I'm strictly light commercial, so like
So
kitchen
like,
stuff.
let's say you manufacture a part and then you want to test its life cycle at like -30 or +30 in different
Oh, okay.
humidities. So you put it in this box and it can be as big as it needs to be, and then it has a full mechanical on the backside. So usually to go like super cold, they can be designed to go really really cold, like -40 or whatever it needs. And so that'll have like a cascade type system, right? So you open up the back of that and it's just solenoids everywhere. And it's just like, okay, like what's going on? Like this is driving me nuts. So the first thing I'll do, some brands like they'll already have them labeled with like arrows and like which
Yeah.
lines are what refrigerant and which system. But I'm sitting there and I'm just like, hey, I can't deal with this. And you're just sitting there, you're following, you're tracing out lines with Sharpies, drawing little arrows, drawing whatever little reminders you can, and then you kind of stand back, reset, and then you kind of look at what you have and then kind of go from there. But they're fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I mean, I don't work on anything like that crazy, but like even when I would do like AC calls, right? I got so used to like the simple stuff, like the carriers and whatnot. And then like once I got into like the higher end trains and Linux units, I opened those panels and I was like, holy crap, there's like wires everywhere. And then that's when they started using boards and stuff. And I was like, okay. But if you just take the time, step back, look at
Yeah.
the schematic, hopefully it has it. If not, just trace every wire. I mean, you'll get it eventually.
Yep. Yeah, I'll have guys phone me like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, neither do I. So like, can you just relax, just chill out, like draw Sharpie on the copper lines.
Yeah.
No one's gonna care about that. And give me your best estimate. Like I'm not gonna help someone over the phone and tell them what to do. It's not gonna happen. They're not gonna retain any of that. So like I want you to figure it out and have a look at it and then call me with your best guess. And then from there we'll break it down, right? Cuz like you have to make an attempt first. I don't know. I feel like I had a really great apprenticeship. I was raised by some really smart guys, but they were not the nicest and politest and happiest to deal with. So like I knew that if I phoned them and I didn't have like a whole bunch of information written down on my notepad, because if they asked me a question I didn't know the answer, hang up. They would hang
Yeah.
up right then and there, done. And now you're sitting there and you're scared. You're like, I can't phone the boss back again. Like I need to figure this out, right? So you play around with it for another half hour and you come up with a new conclusion, and then you phone back to like, I'm not phoning back to ask questions. I'm phoning back to like confirm my diagnosis. Like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what it's
Hmm.
doing. Here's my numbers. Does it make sense that this is happening? And then they'll be like, yeah, or they'll be like, no. But at least you looked at it, right? And if you spend that time, you'll
Yeah.
likely come out ahead every time.
Yeah. And even like when I used to call, like when I started, I was always afraid to call like tech support and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I always made sure that I had all my numbers right. I had my pressure, my temperatures, take a look at the unit, see what it's doing, if it's flashing any lights, if there's anything strange going on, make sure you have all the information for them, because they're gonna need that, and if not, they're gonna get mad real quick.
Well, yeah. And then like honestly, like if you're new to the trade and you're listening to this, like I wish people told me this when I was younger, but like network with
Oh
everybody
yeah,
that you ever meet. Like that, I didn't really fully understand what that meant when I was younger. But like if you go to school and you meet like a bunch of technicians at your school, get all of their numbers, get all of their names, save in your phone in the notes to say like this guy or this girl works on commercial equipment. This one works on residential. This one works on rack supermarket systems. So like if you have a problem, like
yeah.
shoot them a message. The worst they're going to do is not answer. Like I relied on that network a little bit towards the tail end of my apprenticeship. Sometimes it was the blind leading the blind. You know, they're like, oh, I don't really know what's going on either, right? But at least you had that network. Like there's a guy I work with now who I went to pre-apprenticeship training with like over 17 years ago, and like that network never dies. Like a couple of years ago, he's like, hey, you guys hiring? And I'm like, yeah, right. And it can be that too. It doesn't necessarily mean phoning the people that you maybe went to trade school with to like ask them a technical question. It might be you don't feel like you're getting the best apprenticeship, where you're not being trained, you're just being told to go chase parts, change filters, clean coils, right? Like maybe an unpopular opinion here, but I'm going to say it. If you don't feel you're being supported by your journeyman or your employer, I mean, we're still in a market where I am, like to go and not necessarily leave in a huff, but like go explore some options, talk to your network.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
what's your apprenticeship looking like over where you're at? Are you getting trained? Are you getting time with a journey person to go and look at something and actually be able to like have the time to look at stuff, right? We try really hard to work with our apprentices and train them properly and spend time with them. Sometimes they are just changing filters and replacing coils, but like we make an effort to find times not to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you learn hands-on, right? You got to let them do some of the work so that they can eventually just be out there on their own.
Yeah,
But like you mentioned, like if you get into the trades, like people, I have kids that message me and ask me, like, is this trade worth getting into? And sometimes the age ranges, right? There'll be young kids, there'll be older gentlemen that are like trying to make a career change, and they're looking for something that's, they're gonna do well in. And I'm like, yes, because you can get into this trade, and there's so many different avenues you can take, right?
yeah.
So there's different sides of the trade. There's more than just commercial or residential. There's industrial. There's I know you do, like, do you do the grow rooms too and all that?
I used to have a bunch of customers that had the dope rooms, but they kind of all that's not cool anymore. So they all kind of went out of business, right? Went back to
Yeah,
making peppers and cucumbers.
gotcha. So like there's different areas that you could, and you can even niche down if you really want to. But there's always work. So like I always tell them there's always work, and like you mentioned, if you don't like where you're at, I mean you should try to stay there if it's
100%.
worth it, right? If you're getting the training, if you're learning a little bit, if you just get experience, right? You get a year experience, the next job might pay you better, whatever it is, but you can always find work, and people are always looking for good techs. So like as long as you're willing to learn, willing to do the work, and it helps if you're a quick learner, there's always work out there. There's always a need for it, and I recommend this trade 100%.
I get asked that a lot, like, is it worth joining, becoming an HVAC person? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't answer yes. I honestly answer like there's honestly no bad trades.
Well,
Um,
that's true. Yeah.
because like you could absolutely apply. I mean, you don't want to be a drywall or a roofer, but like don't tell anyone I said that, right? But they're in demand too, right? Um,
Any skilled trades is a good trade.
any skilled trade, as long as you apply yourself and you care to like better yourself, you're going to be super successful in whatever you do, right? um and like you said, you can go get your ticket and you just bear down and deal with it, and maybe working on the tools isn't for you. Well, you can go be a manufacturer's rep, you can go work at a supply
Yeah.
house, you can go be a trainer, you can go work in a school, right? You can go be a manager or whatever. There's literally so many different avenues to go down. You know, I mean, I don't know about you, but I plan on going to AHR in Chicago. There's lots of people there who don't work on the tools but have the knowledge that we have and are there to like represent manufacturers and sell product, right?
Yeah, I will be there, and that's the cool thing, like getting to know people on social media. I had the girls from the refrigeration technologies, and I'm like, technically they're in the trades, right?
Yeah.
They represent that company that makes the products that we use. They need to know everything about those products, answer questions, and know what they're selling. So they're part of the trade too, even though they're social media uh, for that they're marketers, right?
Yep.
So that's what they do for that company. But you can be, like you said, you can be in the supply houses. You can be a salesman if you're really good at sales, really good at selling. There's a place for you in the trade, right? If you're really good with your hands, there's a place for you in the trade. And then there's different levels. So like that you, I know like some people come to me and they're like, I don't like residential. I don't like this or that. And I'm like, once you get your foot in the door, you can kind of go
Yep.
down a different path and you'll find something you like. I'm pretty sure you'll find something that you enjoy in this trade, or like you said, any trade, because skilled trades. What happened when the whole COVID thing happened? Like the only people that were still working were the people in any of the skilled trades, because we still need buildings that go up. We still need
Yep.
all that stuff maintained, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical stuff, like all that stuff still needs to be done. Whereas like if you had, I don't want to put down the business degree people, but like a lot of people with different degrees struggled because they couldn't get a job at that point.
Yep.
So skilled
So
trades is where it's at.
for me, when I graduated high school, a few years after that was the like 2008 financial crisis, right? And so I was a really expensive apprentice. So I was honestly super nervous about that. Like, am I going to get full time hours? Am I going to still have a job? Is this career right for me? There's honestly some times there where like you're not working 40 hours a week and we went down to like 4 days a week, and sometimes you weren't having full days for those 4 days a week. But I had friends who went the academic route, right? They're just finishing their fourth year of university, and they were ready to come out and join the workforce, and it was kind of not a great time in 2008 to jump
Oh
out with
yeah.
your degree and join the workforce because nobody was hiring for stuff
Yeah.
like that, right? It
And
was really
see
hard.
see we started in '07 and we got
Yeah,
through all that. Like we boomed basically. Like we were doing really well. Of course there's ups and downs because we run our own business, that
100%.
that's a
Yeah,
that's a thing you have to deal with, but it never stays down too long. Like you just kind of pivot and work on anything that you have a weakness in. Like ours was getting more customers, worked on that, found more customers. We took on too much work at one point. There's different things that we had to learn, but like you said, that year was a struggle, just like 2020 was a struggle for some people, and we didn't feel the effects of that like at all. We did have to. I think we waited like a week for the COVID thing, just because like we deal with restaurants and they did close for a few days to
yeah,
figure out
that's
what they were
tough.
gonna do. But like we had a lot of national chains, like these pizza places, these fast food chains, they weren't gonna stay closed. So even if they just did drive through, like we were there, like stuff breaks, we were there fixing stuff. So any
Yeah, the
any
care
skill trade is a good trade.
yeah, the care homes certainly weren't closing during COVID. They were asking us to get in there and do work. I mean, I'm pretty fortunate with my employer I work at. We have like a pretty diverse portfolio of different customers to work on, whether a manufacturing sector goes down or the financial sector goes down. We have a lot of different customers that are going to fit the bill in other spots that likely are okay and still doing work, right? A lot of our customers during COVID, like you said, there was like maybe a couple weeks or a month where they were like super uncertain and didn't want to spend a single red cent. But
Yeah.
then, once March was over in 2020 and it was starting to hit April, May, full steam ahead. They were like, no, we can't just shut down. We got to continue working. We got to do this, do that. And then they were getting free money from the government, right? So we were happy to help them spend that and keep them running, right?
Yeah, man. And we do, like I said, hospital work. So like that one was more of a budget thing. Like during that time, they didn't want to spend, but like you said, like after a month, for us, it was like a week where I think we were off for like a week, right? Because we were just waiting. And then like
Mhm.
the whole lockdown thing, like we didn't even know if we could leave our house, whatever, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff that happened. And no, they gave us like I think I had to keep something on my window that gave me permission to go out
Yeah.
and all that. So like we were out there after a few days, and like you said, it might have been slow at that time, which slow in this field is not that bad either. Like you're still
No.
making money.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you're still making money. You get kind of like a little relief, right? A little break, mentally, especially. And then, like you said, it picked right back up, and then it was heading into summer like that. You just stay busy. So,
Yeah,
um,
I had letterheads from different customers that are like stating that like we are such and such an essential business deemed
oh
by the
yeah,
government under blah 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 blah. And this person is like a contractor of ours that is needed to do us, because like we never really went into full shutdown, so we were really close. So like a lot of businesses like prepare themselves that if they we're going to get shut down, we're still going to be able to like run commercial buildings. You can't just shut down commercial
no,
buildings. The pumps will fail, water leaks will happen, equipment will shut down, all that stuff. You can't just shut it off.
yeah, we had those same little like papers, I guess, and just
Yeah.
taped them to the windows, and like
Yeah.
I'm essential, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and like I remember during that time too, we were still like turning away work just because we were so busy.
Yeah.
And like I said, we do the hospital work, and they wanted us to do more of like the other stuff because like we only stay in the kitchen, which I honestly prefer. I like what I do and our line of work, but like we don't do the chillers or anything like that, and I'm not qualified honestly to do that. But they've tried us out before. It's just it never works out. Like doing the upstairs, right? The chemicals or the blood, like everything that has to be controlled by temperature, coolers, and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The whole morgue thing, they
Yeah.
wanted us to do all that. It's like, oh, like no, kind of like turn away work. And like with us, like I said earlier, like you can niche down in this industry, this HVAC world, and I'm very comfortable doing just kitchen work. So like we deal with only restaurants, hospitals, and schools. Obviously, they have kitchens, so we deal with that too. But like we can pick and choose. So I'm very picky with what I do,
Yep.
and it's something you can do when you get into HVAC. So honestly, just if you're thinking about it, try it out, get into it. If anything, the experience helps you out. Like you said, if you're at a bad company, another company will treat you better.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. If you give them an effort, like they'll give you an effort for sure.
Yeah, because every guy that like if we were to hire somebody and obviously train them and all that, and then they can run their own calls and they can do a broad range of different things like what you do at yours, that's worth a lot to
Yeah.
the company. Like to be able to send out a guy and just be like, fix it, whatever it is, fix it.
Yep.
So you don't do the grow rooms anymore that much, or do you still do some?
No, I mean, I think we still have one as a customer, but like we honestly don't do a lot of work there, and I don't think they grow. I know they used to grow like this many greenhouses in this one location. Now it's just like one or two. Like it's not nearly as much as it used to be. It was
So
honestly,
it like dwindled down already.
oh yeah, a little while ago, a couple years ago, probably, but well before COVID actually.
Oh,
A
okay.
bunch of them like lost market share, and then they kind of like moved out. It was honestly like it was a super fun experience, but I don't miss going there because like you
That
had a
was gonna
park.
be that was gonna be my next question. Do you miss it?
Oh, you had a parking like this parking lot, they would deem this is where your contractors park, and then you gotta like clear security and figure out who you are, what you're doing. And then these greenhouses, Adrian, I don't know if you know, but like one greenhouse might be a couple city blocks by a couple city blocks, and there's gonna be like a center core building, and they all hub out like a star. And so,
Oh, okay.
oh my gosh, you're sitting there, and I never kept a watch on me, so I wouldn't really know how many steps I did. But like, man,
Mm.
your feet hurt because you're just like hauling stuff through these areas. And like, once you get in the greenhouse, depending on what stage they are on the grow, you might not even be allowed to go in there in your work clothes and your tool bags. You might have to like gown up
Oh
and
yeah.
clean, sanitize your tools, wipe them all down before you go in there. So then you're like, okay, well, there's this one place we looked after, they had very large dehumidifiers that would be scattered throughout the grow room. It wasn't like it was HVAC that could be serviced outside of the grow room. It was inside there. So like they're like, hey, one corner of the greenhouse has high humidity, so you need to go in there and have a look. So I don't know. I didn't like it. You're waiting. You're literally wading through plants to get there. And I'm just like, I don't want to break nothing, right? I don't want
Oh yeah.
to. And then it doesn't matter. So I'd be wearing a gown, right? I got
Mm-hmm.
my work clothes on. My wallet's in a zip pocket. And then
Okay.
you pull out like a debit card to buy coffee on the way home that was in a wallet in a zip pocket of a pair of pants with another, and it would stink. It would stink so bad. And
So
so I was,
that stuff just penetrates everything.
oh, everything. I was like, I think we had letterheads as well for that customer. So if we ever got pulled over and were like accused of maybe
Oh.
go through like a sobriety test, it's like, no, no, like here's my badge, right? Here's
Mm-hmm.
who I am. Here's the customer I'm at, right? Like, yeah, you can do your sobriety test if you want, but like, there's a reason why I smell like this, right? Um, we had a
Yeah,
rule that if
I
went,
had Matt on here, and I
yeah,
asked him about but did you get pulled over?
no, never. I never had a problem with that. But like
Never had.
we
Okay.
no, we had a rule though. If you went to one of the grow houses, you weren't allowed to go anywhere else for that day. So like it had to
Oh
be a full day because you couldn't go to someone else and you would reek.
yeah, I actually have another. It's a pair, Matt and Megan, I believe, from Mechanical Environments, and they niched, I guess, down to that's what they do. They do grow rooms. So
Yeah.
I'm interested in hearing about like how they got into that and why they decided to stick to that. Because I've had Matt on here, I've had you on here now, and it's an interesting experience. You know, needless to say.
One of the coolest things about it, I don't know, but anyway, one of the coolest things about it was maybe they're harvesting the plants, okay? And then so they had a lot of foreign workers working the plants to like cut them down and trim them down before they would be
Okay.
processed. And so you would have one ethnicity on one side of this big huge greenhouse. They're all working as a team, right? And then you have another ethnicity on the other side, and they speak different languages, but they were allowed to listen to music. And so they would have these huge
Oh,
stereos, and they're listening to like stuff in their language just blasting. It was honestly, there were some really great tunes. I had no idea what anyone was saying in the lyrics, but like it was great tunes. Not so great when you're in the middle because you're just blasted with both. But when you're working on one side or the other, I'm like, this is not bad.
that's kind of like what we deal with here, because like I said, we do kitchens, a lot of restaurants,
Yeah,
and it's a Hispanic culture here. So like I every not in the hospitals or any like fancy places, you know, but like in these small restaurants, you know, that's all you hear is just them blasting the music in the kitchen, and then I don't know, you kind of vibe to it sometimes.
oh yeah. There's one customer I was at a little while ago. They fancy little, I don't even know what they make. I've always wanted to go there for dinner, but they're only open for dinner, right? And they
Oh,
make
okay.
really niche, tiny, cute, small plates, right? Really fancy cocktail list, the whole 9 yards. And they're there from like 9 a.m. until open at 5 o'clock, just prepping because everything's fresh, everything's done. And
Yeah.
they're listening, they always listen to like super dark metal and just cranked. They're all a great group to work with. You're just like behind Jeff behind, and you're like sitting there trying to open up a condenser coil in the back to clean it and try not to get like have a knife drop on you or whatever. But like it's fun working there. You show a little kindness. You kind of say behind like you're one of the
Hmm.
cool guys there. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, right? And then
Yeah.
they're like, hey, you want some cheese? And they're just
Yeah.
like busting off like cheese from a Parmesan block or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah, and that's an important part of the trade. More so the more people that you have to deal with, right? Like if we're in a kitchen, it's filled with cooks. You know, the managers are walking around, the waitresses are in there, waiters and all that. So and that's something I had to learn too, because like it's my dad's business, and he does the cooking equipment, and I do the HVAC. So we kind of partnered up, and that's how we run it. But like I just wanted to get in and out, right? I was a kid. I was like 20, 21. I just wanted to get out, you know, get my check, go home, go with my friends.
Yeah,
And I didn't understand that whole relationship part with the people that you go to work for. So you get little perks, right, in restaurants or different
yeah,
things. And it's always good to be nice to everybody, because also you never know, they might get promoted manager or whatever, like they move, and then they want or they request you
yeah.
specifically to do work somewhere else. So
We've had
I've had plenty.
customers and they've left their employer and we're like, oh no, do we still have a place here? But like, no, they trust us
Uh-huh.
still. We're going to continue to do work. But then maybe, a month later, so and so calls us up and we're at their new employer doing work for them too, right? It's
Yeah.
honestly, I know it's kind of weird, but like jiving with like the vibe of like the customer is like kind of fun to me. You know what I mean? It's just a different atmosphere because sometimes you're sitting there super serious, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's whispering, and in other places they got like some music cranked, and you're just kind of like, okay, let's do it, let's go for it, right? But
Yeah,
it's different, it's fun.
that's something I had to learn from my dad because my dad is really good at that, but obviously he's been doing it longer than I have. And he worked at another company. He did really well over there. And then when he started his business, I kind of saw that. I just never understood it. So he was like best friends with everybody that he met. And I slowly started realizing that because like you said, there's like every location is different. You don't know if they're going to be serious, super technical, like they want to know everything,
Yep.
or they don't, or they might not care too much and they just want a good or somebody that they can trust and kind of be friends with. Because then that helps you as well because they'll call you over like a bigger company or another company. But I had to learn that from my dad because we went to places where, and I'm pretty sure these managers, like the ones that I've seen, they weren't from around here or something. They might be from somewhere else, and it's how they do things over there. So like there was one that was like he would cuss all the time. He'd
Yeah.
call you names and this and that, but it was always like to him a joke or
Jovial,
testing
yeah.
testing you or whatever it was. And I was like, I've never seen that before. And then my dad would go in there and he would kind of feel out the vibe and all that, and then he would start like joking around back and forth the way the manager joked around, right?
Yep.
You kind of have to feel how their what their personality is, and I just never understood that. So at some
Mhm.
places you get that kind of vibe. Um, there's people that I never know if they're joking or not, but then you got to take the punches and deal with it. And then there's other places that are like super friendly or you know, uh, they want to know everything. And then there's some places that they're like, just fix it. You know, they kind of leave you alone. So that whole relationship part is very important. And that's a part that I don't think a lot of people understand either is in this trade. Now, I prefer commercial because there's less people. Sometimes, you know, you're on a rooftop, you're by yourself sometimes. So I get a little bit of both. I'm on the roof by myself, but then if I'm in the kitchen, I'm around people and I get to talk to them. So uh, I don't know if I would like residential. I feel like you get a whole range of people in that area, but that's just, you
The
know.
big difference for me that I've noticed is like when I'm checking into a commercial customer, whether they're whatever their mannerism, whether I know that they want to meet me in person in their office, whether I know they want a phone call or a text message or an email, customers want to be communicated with a certain way, but like you check in, you check out. But the big thing for me that I've noticed is like it's not their money. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Talking to a homeowner, they're super anxious. Typically, they're stressed out because
Yeah.
something's not working, and maybe they're super nervous too about making a decision right now and their spouse is not there about spending a grand, 2 grand, 3 grand, or unit replacement, whatever it might be. But if you're talking with like a commercial customer, they probably have like an operating budget, right? So it's still a
Hmm.
stressful conversation with them because they still need to like make sure they have money in case something else breaks next
Hmm.
month. But in this quarter they have this much money, and as long as I'm gonna like, hey, it's gonna be 2 grand to fix this condenser fan motor, does that sound fine with you? And like, yeah, just go do it. Shoot me an email that you're going to do it, and then shoot me an email back. It's good enough for now, and we'll figure it out. Right, for customers we do business with regularly. Right.
Yeah, I guess that's the other thing. Like with residential, you have to keep in mind that they're making a big
Yeah.
decision on their part,
Yeah.
especially if they buy new equipment and all that. And then in commercial, and I was just thinking about that earlier today because I was recording some stuff, and then it's not their money. Now, the only thing that they might worry about is like a bonus because I have a couple
Correct.
of those
Yes. Yes.
where they're like, "Oh, can that wait?" Or you know, can you stretch it out till next month or whatever it is? Because they, like you said, they have a budget, and I think they get like a bonus if they don't go over that budget. And
Some of them do. Yeah.
there's all this stuff that you have to keep in mind with that. But most of the time, they're just they just want it fixed. So just know your customer, know how to deal with them. Everyone's going to be different,
Yeah.
and that's a like you said, sometimes it's fun, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes it's super stressful. You don't want to be there anymore, and you're clacking your little feet together, saying there's no place like home. But other times it's like super fun.
Yeah. So how did you end up in HVAC? How did you get into the trades?
Oh, that's a great question. I think about this sometimes, and I don't know if I fully know the answer, to be honest, Adrian. So
Yeah,
my
because
old
I
man,
have a lot of people that just like fall into it and they're
yeah,
like,
I
oh,
don't know.
it's the best thing in the world now.
My old man was a sheet metal mechanic, so he was always like,
Okay.
"If you become a sheet metal mechanic, I'll kill you, right? I'll take you out."
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, no, you're not. He's like, "You're not the trade for you."
Oh, okay. I
Um,
thought you were gonna go the other way with that.
nope. I I did in grade 12, I did Chem 12. I did all the things: Chem 12, Physics 12, Math 12, History 12, French 12, English 12. I'm like, I'm going to university. That's what I
Okay.
want to do. And by the time I was done grade 12, I was so done with writing papers and exams and essays. I'm never again. I was always like playing with Lego, building stuff outside, right? Like I really enjoyed shop class in school as well. And I was always on the mindset that like I want to be an engineer. That's what I want to be, right? And
That's
then
what
you
I
get a
did too.
little yeah, right? And then you get a little older and you're like, I don't think it is an engineer that I'm looking for. I think I want to work
No.
in the skilled trades. And I did like a trades discovery course at my local technical school. So I think I was there for like 6 months, and you kind of spent a couple of days or a few days in the different departments that they have because they train all the apprentices there. So you might spend
Okay.
a couple of days in carpentry, a couple of days in rigging, a couple of days in welding, et cetera, et cetera. And you got like some basic first aid training out of that, forklift training out of that, some WMIS training out of that. You got a little intro to all the trades. It was a really neat program, honestly. I had a blast. And then out of that, I kind of already had an idea that I wanted to do HVAC refrigeration, but that like solidified my answer. It's got a little bit of sprinkling of everything, right? It's got mechanical, it's got electrical, it's got
Yeah.
physics in it with thermodynamics, right? I don't know, it's kind
But
of everything.
when you kind of leaned into that, what did you think HVAC was? Like some people like when they're young, they just think it's like residential stuff like attics and whatnot. Like were you drawn to anything specific on the HVAC trade?
Specific? No, I think it was just the idea that, like, I recognized from when I was young that, like, there's a lot of because my dad was a sheet metal mechanic, so he knew a little bit about HVAC as well, right? So
Okay.
I would talk to him a little bit about it, and he's like, "Yeah, that's what I would do." That was what he always said. He's like, "If I could go back, I would go back and I would do refrigeration," is what he always said, right? Because
Hmm.
I don't know, it's a little bit of everything, right? I got my gas ticket as well out of it, and then when I was done my trades like program, I went and did like a specific one just for refrigeration. I spent 6 months full time doing like a foundations course, not as an apprentice, just like training at the technical school. And then after that, you kind of get the first and second year schooling done. And then if you can get employed and indentured at an employer as an apprentice, for your apprenticeship training, they'll count 500 hours as like worked training hours, and they
Okay.
would they would count the first year of schooling as being complete, right?
Hmm.
So it was kind of nice as an employer. Like we've hired a couple people from the foundations course for the sole reason that like I've done the course, so I know like they had 6 months training. They
Oh
did
yeah.
this, and this in the curriculum. They know how to use a meter. They know about basic electrical safety. So you're less concerned about them hurting themselves on something. I don't expect them to know what they're talking about. I really don't, but I know that they know how to use a meter, and at least they are
Yeah,
not
because
just reaching out and grab stuff, right?
like I went to school for it, but my brother went through the same course, and like you said, I already knew he's not gonna hurt himself. He's gonna be able to understand what I'm telling him to check or go do. So it it, it definitely helps.
You get a different person coming out of that course because someone had to pay money to go there and take time out of working to go and invest in themselves to do it. So the hope is that like if they're investing in themselves, they're going to continue that process along as well. So like we've had great success. We've had some great apprentices um, come out of that program that we've hired, and it's been really great actually.
Yeah, I actually ran into a lot of my classmates after the fact. You know, seeing them around
Yeah.
town at
Yep.
other big companies, and they're doing really well for themselves. And um, that school that I went to, I know like what they put us through and all that. So like I know like my brother went through it, and I know he knows how to check. He knew how to check things. He knew what I was talking about when I was like, what's a superheat or what's a saturated, all these little things that, if you take an apprentice that has never been through anything and they're trying to learn on the job, it's a little more difficult.
Well, yeah, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg, and trying to explain how to put on like a service manifold onto like a system. You're like, well, you want to put it on this side of the system first and purge through this way and then connect to
Yeah.
this side. But like if they don't understand that one side of the system's higher than the other or they're equal when they're off, like how do you
Oh
start that?
yeah, I've
I
had to
listen,
deal with.
I failed that part of the programming it the first time I did it when I was trying to like they would quiz you on like how to put the service manifold on back when we all used service manifolds, and I
Yeah.
was so stressed out about that. It was insane. But I figured it out, or at least I think I figured it out. We're 16, 17 years in and something's going right,
uh
I guess.
Man, whenever they would have us like they would show us how to do things, and it would be something like where it was like one station and then they'd call somebody up, you do this or you do that. I hated getting called up because I would
Yeah.
always I'd be really good. I'd be really good when we like separated and we had our own little stations and everybody was working. But whenever I had to go up to the front and do the stupid thing in front of everybody, I had trouble. I remember vividly one time that couldn't even hook up the damn gauges. I was like
Yep.
there like for 5 minutes trying to thread the stupid hose on. But
We had some trainers when I went through the program that were super intense and like OG were like they knew things and like started the curriculum type OG, right? And so they were very
okay.
intense. They come up to you and you're charging this like little tiny like walk-in box trainer that everyone works on, and then he would come up to you and he'd be like, there's no bubbles in your sight glass. Like he'd say it like under stress, and then I'd look over and other guys would be like, they wouldn't know how to react, and then you'd be like, well, it's fully charged. There's a solid column of liquid there. There shouldn't be bubbles. And it's like, good answer, good answer. I'll get you
Oh
next
yeah.
time, right?
Yeah, when they test you, yeah.
they
Uh,
would they would they would pull disconnects and they would put in blown fuses. So you would have been working on it in the morning, okay, and then you go for a coffee break, and while you were out of the lab, they're swapping like blown fuses in things, and then you come back and be like, why is my system off? And then now you got to troubleshoot what it is, and you knew they changed something because there'd be the two instructors on the side and they'd be kind of like looking at one of the stations
yeah.
like, all right, let's see what they're gonna do.
Man, they did you dirty, but that's how you learn. You,
Oh yeah.
you get when you get put on the spot. That's another thing I tell people is like you're gonna learn either from mistakes because you're not gonna forget those,
Yeah.
like when you struggle and stuff like that, or when you actually fix something after you've been working on it for a while, right? You get that little victory afterwards. So you remember those things when it's always when you struggle, like mistakes, or when it takes you a little longer to figure it out, and then you figure it out. So
There's
that's the
truth to it.
best way to learn.
I'll tell an apprentice or a green journeyman, and I'm like, listen, don't feel bad because like when I did what you just did, like it blew up way worse than what you did. Like, don't worry, don't worry about it, right?
I know. I tell people all the time. I burn holes through copper. I've done so many things that like
Sure,
you know I wouldn't do today, but like you learn from those mistakes, and then you just don't do it. If you as long as you don't keep making those same mistakes, you'll be fine.
100%. Yeah, you couldn't have said it better than that, right?
Yeah, man. Let me see. So you seem like a guy that always has fun on
Yeah.
social media. I like seeing the posts that you do. I will say I think Ben should have a new category for like the memes or the jokes, pranksters or whatever you want to call them, because there's a lot of good ones out there. Like I said, I enjoy what you post on yours.
Well,
It just seems like you have fun at work.
we've a few years ago we grew a lot. Like so we took on a bunch of new customers, a bunch of new technicians, and I took on more of like a general foreman role. So like I was kind of
Okay.
like no longer just one of the guys, you know what I mean? I had responsibilities to look after them and help them out and stuff. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe me making my little jokes and stuff in the company group chat isn't the best place for that. And that's why I joined social media. I'm like, I'm gonna like other people are doing it. Like maybe I can like have some fun in it. I was honestly like not really enjoying the trade so much before. It was I don't know, it was like I was kind of getting bored, to be honest, right?
I get
And
like that. I get like that too. I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
and then I joined social media. I networked with so many great people, And then I started making all my little memes and my little jokes and joking around with people on there. And then inevitably all the guys I work with just and the girls as well just like followed me over there. So it's like it's not like I'm this like secret little joke maker over here. Like they can see that I'm making fun of the dispatch
Yeah.
again or whatever it is, right? But this this trade can be so stressful and
Hmm.
life can be so stressful. Like I got 3 young kids, so all dealing with customer stresses at work. Guys are calling me with needing assistance or whatever, right? I come home and obviously I'm a father, so I'm helping with looking after the kids and doing taking them to whatever. So like this was my little out that I kind of niched in because I used to play rugby competitively. I used
Okay.
to ride my motorcycle a lot and do a bunch of other activities
Oh,
before
that's right. Yeah.
kids. But then when you have kids, their activities become your activities, right? So like I put the kids to bed and I kind of like started playing on my phone a little bit and kind of venturing into that world.
Yeah, and it's all about like at work or whatever it is, like lightening the mood,
Yeah,
making
big
it
time.
making it fun for you because like you said, it's a lot of stress, a lot of like fix things now. I needed this or that. And you got to stay positive, and that's a good way to go about it. Just have fun at work.
Yeah. No, like I try to like it helps. I don't know. It helps me anyway. And the guys I work with sometimes they joke. They're like, "I'm not sure if you're being serious or not when you're asking me to do this thing, right?" I'm like, "No, no. Like that's how you need to do this task. Like that's unfortunately the way it is. Let's not talk about it anymore and just get it done, right?" But they kind of like to joke around. I don't know. I try not to have my phone out too often for like goofy stuff. It's mostly out just to, film a repair or
Yeah,
picture of data plates or like before and after stuff just to show the customer. Um,
yeah, it's a good
but
one
like
too.
sometimes I might be like, doing the Steve Irwin where you're just making a funny voice while you're trying to record something, and then the guys will see me doing it and they'll kind of give me a hard time or jump in and ruin the shot. I'm like, I'm just going to post that in my stories anyway, just so you know. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, and it's a great, like that's great for you at work, but it's also a great community on social media, specifically
Yeah.
like Instagram. And I kind of fell into it too. Like I just started making memes also and having fun with it because and people appreciate that because it like work can be stressful and all that, and it's like sometimes you take work home with you, which is not a good thing either. But you gotta lighten up. You gotta laugh at yourself too, and laugh at the stuff that you do. Like I always tell people not to take it too hard when you can't figure out something, when you can't fix something right away. It takes you a little bit longer. Like I
Yeah.
said, I beat myself up because I would burn a hole through a copper when it could have been like a much simpler repair, and I turned it into an all day thing just because I kept screwing up. You're gonna have those days. So like lighten up, have fun with it. If you guys are on Instagram, make sure you follow Jay over here for the cool memes and stuff. And you're gonna find a lot of people out there that are similar. They have that sense of humor. They joke around. It's much better than what it was a few years ago. I feel like not everybody is like trying to bring everybody down. It's all
Hmm.
positive, joking around. A really good community, and I'm glad that it's here. Like you brought up Chicago earlier. I'm looking forward to that. It's like a little break
Big
that we
time.
all get to meet everybody in person, get to hang out, have fun. And Ben is doing his thing with the award show, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I'll be there as well. When I don't know. I like join social media and I'm like, what am I on social media, right? Like, and then I feel like I'm kind of a technical person sometimes, but then I'm like, you know what? The market is saturated with technical people. There's people who know way more than I do and are way more put together with how they display what they're talking about, right? So I'm like, yeah, that's not me. I'm just gonna kind of make my goofy stuff and see where that goes, right? Like that's kind of been my little fun niche for sure.
Yeah, just be you, right? Just be you,
Yeah.
Jason. Um, and I tell people that too because I've had people that tell me or that ask me about social media, right? Like a lot of people are there and they watch all the big accounts, right? And I had that problem too where I would watch like Chris Stevens or Gary, all these big names that are doing like technical stuff or teaching stuff.
Hmm.
HVAC school, Ty Brenneman, there's a bunch of them. And I started my YouTube kind of to show like the crazy things that I would see at work, because I see a lot of hacks and different things. And then I was like, I caught myself trying to be like them, and I shouldn't be doing that. You got to be yourself. You got to, relax when you
Yeah.
get on social media. And when you are yourself, people see that, and they, there might be somebody that relates to you, that has your sense of humor, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So like I've had people that come up to me and they're like, "Should I start posting? Should I do
Why not?
something?" Yeah, like
Yeah.
why not? Like,
Yeah.
and I've had a couple that asked me, and now they blew up, and they're like crazy amount of followers. They're way bigger than I am, and I'm like, see, like what would have happened if you never posted?
I have
Um,
people message me sometimes, and they're just like, they're like, "Hey, I've been following you for a while. I really like your stuff. It's quite technical. Can I ask you like some technical questions?" And I'm like, are you looking at the right account right now? Like, I am technical. I appreciate you recognizing that, but like, I don't know where you're getting that from. Like,
it's
who
like
you been
it's like
talking to?
maybe you post like 5 memes and then like one tech tip or something, and then boom,
Those
they're
never,
gonna,
those never hit, Adrian. It's all about the memes, right?
which is crazy, right? Because I did that too. Like I was trying to do more technical stuff, like I said
Yeah,
at the beginning, and then like one day I was like, let me try a meme. Blew up. Try to go back to technical.
yeah.
No views.
There's no
So I was like,
rationale behind it. Yeah,
yeah, I was like, all right, I'll just keep up with the sense, the my sense of humor, and continue with the memes, and it is what it is. People when they get on social media, they want to either learn something or just laugh, right? So
yeah,
those are the things that you fall into.
big time.
And a lot of people, like you brought up stress. A lot of people blame work or the trades for the stress that lingers with them at home, households, in their households or relationships. How have you kind of balanced that? Like like do you try to separate it as much as you can? I know you have, like you said, kids. I try to do the same thing with mine. Like I hate to bring work home.
Well, lately, and when I say lately, I mean I started in July. My wife got used to go to spin classes a lot, and then COVID happened, and then spin classes shut down. And then she's like, "We need to buy an indoor spin bike." And so I rode it a bunch back then, and
Okay.
kind of like got off of it for a while. But like since July, I've been pretty hard on my spin bike, and like I
Is
don't know,
that like the Peloton or
yeah, I
something?
have a Peloton. Yeah, I hate every single minute being on it. Like it's not fun. It's not comfortable sitting on that little seat, being a
We
big
we
dude.
have
It's
we
not
have
enjoyable.
one. We have one, and I've been debating to use it or not, but I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah. And then like honestly, once you're done though, like pumped. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning to ride my bike because I knew in the afternoon you and I were going to be chatting away here. So like it's I haven't lost any weight to be honest, maybe a few pounds or whatever, but like I've leaned out a bunch. I feel better. I don't get short-winded going upstairs and ladders, going across roofs. Like it's hot out, you're wearing work safety gear and you're just like out of breath. It's not enjoyable. And I was kind of like, well, I got kids. I kind of want to be able to like be the cool dad who's in his 50s and still able to like play with his kids, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of starting to like take better care of myself in that regard. And it's honestly helped me a lot with my stress level riding my bike. And I played rugby competitively when I was younger. And that competitive nature I really, really enjoyed. And so riding my bike, my spin bike is like super fun too, because I'll just like race myself in races I've done before. And I've been doing some programs. So you're kind of, there's a um, reason to how I'm training and the rides I'm taking.
Okay.
And then you're kind of doing fit tests every 5 weeks or whatever to see where you're at. And lately it keeps on going up and up and up. So you're just keep on beating your old times and your old outputs. It's really, I don't know, I really like it actually. Don't tell anybody.
Well, I might need to try it now. Like I said, I've been debating because we have one,
So
and
I'll add you as a friend on the Peloton app, but I'm not going to sync up the video because you can actually, I think you can sync up the video on these things. And like, while you're in the ride, there can be a little screen of HVAC in the corner, and I can be huffing and puffing away with you. But like no
oh,
one.
there's a camera on you.
Uh huh. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
If you're like on a friends list, you can like take a ride at the same time. But like nobody needs to see me sitting there just like sweating like a stuck pig, huffing and puffing. No one wants to see that. So we'll avoid that part of it. But
Yeah, and I get that whole thing, like working out. I know it's like it's hard, right? It's hard to do that kind of stuff or even have hobbies when you have a job like HVAC or anything.
yeah,
So like managing your time is a big thing. Like you said, you still got it in today, even though you're here doing the podcast with me. But
managing the time
it's
has gotten a lot harder, like with my kids getting older, because now they're not
yeah.
just like little kids where they just do whatever you're doing. Now, like my oldest daughter plays divisional soccer, right? My middle kid goes to like brownies, right? My youngest kid goes to dance. So it's more than just like them being a little kid hanging out with mom and dad at home.
Oh
They're
yeah.
going to their activities as well in the evening, right?
Yeah, like their activities or like we try to take our kids out for like something fun that they want to do, trying to balance all that stuff and then like trying to work out, right?
Yeah.
It's something we all dread, but like you said, it helps with your stress, it helps with um your physique, your physical aspect of work, because what we do is not easy.
No.
We get like I get on roofs a lot and I don't want to be short-winded like you said on a rooftop.
Yeah.
um a lot of people do residential, they're in attics. Obviously you have to keep hydrated and all that other stuff, but like your body, like you depend on your body a lot.
Yeah.
If you're short-winded, if you're getting a little heavier here and there, that doesn't help you at all.
No.
So
There's a
working out is a good thing, and I used to play basketball. I get that whole competitive part, and I do kind of miss
yeah.
that. So I'm trying to get back into it as well, like trying to work out and do different things.
I think that's why I've been so successful in my career too, is like I'm competitive with myself to like not want to embarrass
It
myself and make
does,
a mistake. And you're
it
trying to
does
like
help. Yeah,
spend your own time to like read some manuals in the evening or in the mornings or whatever it is, right? It makes a big difference over the course of a career. It might be hard at first and might feel like you're spinning your tires, but when you
yeah,
look back after you've been doing it for a decade plus, it just creates those habits, right? To better yourself. And I don't know, I think you'll get a lot more enjoyment out of it by doing that, eh?
yeah. And I was actually gonna do like a little post about that, or like working into a podcast or something about um, where that competitiveness helps me
Big
now,
time.
because I used to be like into sports and different things, and I was trying to be the best I could be at that, right? And then you're competing with other people, um, and all that that comes with sports. When you get into the trades, and now that I think back on it, I was very stubborn when I started too, right? I was
Yep.
trying to make sure that none of the equipment that I had to work on ever like beat me. I wanted to beat it, right? I wanted to fix it. I wanted to be able to figure it out. And sometimes it hurt me when I didn't want to call for help or whatever it was. That was a whole pride thing, but like the competitiveness helped me to get better every day.
Mhm.
And if you're genuinely trying to get better, in your off time, put in the work, you're gonna be a hell of a technician.
I agree 100%. It makes a bit I don't know, it makes a difference, I think.
Yeah, it's a great
We
it's great to
hired
be
a we
competitive.
hired a guy who played in the Western Hockey League, and then he played professionally in Europe, and then he played in the ECHL. And then I joked that when the boss hired him, he hired him because the boss wanted to figure out a better wrist snap. You know what I mean? I'll teach you HVAC if you teach me a better like snapshot type thing, right? But but that guy worked out.
He's doing good, I bet.
Yeah, he's still here. He basically, I don't know, he started his apprenticeship a little bit just before us, but he's been here ever since. He's a journeyman now. Like I had the honor and privilege of like signing him off as an apprentice to a journey person, right? Like I've had
Oh,
the
that's awesome.
oh, it's honestly it's the coolest thing ever. You're sitting there with all this like proper paperwork with full names
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and then you write down your name and your trade qualification numbers, and then boom, boom. Like, I mean, I didn't do any of the work. I'm just sitting there signing that, like, I think they're qualified, but like, I take a lot of pride in that, and like, it's honestly a really cool experience to sign off on someone. I think one of the
Yeah.
greatest privileges I've had, to be honest.
So you brought up your bike. Do you still ride?
My motorcycle. So I spent the off season last year fixing it up because I needed new went chain and front and rear sprockets. So I did all that work, you know, the tradesperson in me just like, hey, I can do this, I can figure this
Yeah.
out, right? So I got it all fixed up and it was all ready to go. And I didn't ride. This is the first year in probably since riding, I did not ride my bike one day in the summertime, not once. I
Wow.
just didn't have the time with the kids' activities and like the family trips
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and working late. And I mean, I could have put insurance on it, and I could have gone out in the evening from time to time. But like, honestly, as I've gotten older and my kids have gotten older, I kind of, when they were younger, you just kind of put them to bed and you hang out with your wife for a bit, or maybe
Yeah.
you go for a ride and get a coffee and a treat
Yeah.
at the bakery across town or whatever, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like, now that they're older, they're not going to bed so early. So you don't want to, I don't know, you feel guilty taking that time away from the family, I find. So I didn't really ride this year, but next year I'm trying to plan a trip where we do like a family
Yeah.
trip to the east, and you know, dad will take his motorcycle, and there's a motorcycle rally I go to or try to go to every single year. And so people from Washington, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, um, Alberta and Saskatchewan all come to BC for this motorcycle rally. So I'm trying to like convince my wife that like, hey, we should do like a family trip so I can go on. It's the 20th anniversary this year of this motorcycle rally.
Mm,
So like I could go there, you know, ride
yeah.
my bike the whole way. You ride with the kids. We'll stay at some nice places along the way, and then I'll kind of ride with all my friends for a couple of days, and then we'll do like a family trip where we're staying. It's not sold yet. I'm still working on my wife on that one. We'll try.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool, man. I don't ride motorcycles. My dad did, but we're into cars in my family, right? So I have uncles. We like the classic cars. I actually have a 1962 Pontiac that
Cool.
I used to drive a lot, and it kind of started breaking down, right? And like you
Yeah.
said, the tradesman in you wants to fix everything. I've worked on it plenty of times. I've gotten it fixed up, but it still needs a little more work. So it's been sitting for a couple of years. I need to get back into it, and yeah, maybe next year I'll get that on the road again.
Yeah, just getting it on the road is the first step, right? Little baby
But
steps.
like, but like, it's the whole thing, like you mentioned, like with the kids. Like I used to have that free time when they were younger, and they took
Yes.
naps and all that
Yes.
stuff. And now, they want to do stuff, or they have activities or whatever. And I, like you said, I do feel guilty as well. Like I don't want to tell them no, or I don't want to be that dad that's not there, right? So
The
try
cool
to
thing about the
balance
cool
it
thing
as
about the
best I
car
can.
though is like if you could like get it operational where it's safe to take your family, and then it can be the cool ice cream mobile, you know what I mean? You can go out and get
Yeah,
ice cream with the kids or whatever, right?
that's what I was thinking. Because like I said, it's been a few years, so like they haven't been in it. Like the
Yeah.
last time that I was riding it, like they were little. So um that's what I was thinking too. I was like, man, I really need to fix it up because they would probably think it's really cool and this and that. So
Yeah.
I need to get on that.
You need to do that for sure.
So I need to put seat belts in it though. It doesn't have seat belts.
Kind of
That
a
would be the
key
only thing.
ingredient. Yeah.
That would be the only thing. I was like, when it's just me, like it's whatever. Like it doesn't need them because it's a 62. But I was
Yep.
like, if I'm gonna be having the kids in there, I got to get those installed.
Yeah, likely. Yep.
All right, man. So we're at an hour and a half. I don't want to keep you too long, man. Is there anything you want to close out on?
Uh,
Anything?
close out on. I think we covered a few bases, right?
Yeah, it
We
was
could
a
probably
really
sit
good
here. We can
conversation.
sit here and we can jam out for probably a couple more hours, I'm sure. But but I don't know if you're. I mean, if you're listening to this, you're probably interested in the trades, or you're already in the trades. But like, again, like I just want to like I take a lot of pride in training apprentices that we have and green journeymen that we have, and if that's you, like make sure you're getting what you're worth. And I'm not talking about a dollar amount. I'm not talking like you can go somewhere else and make an extra buck. I'm talking about like talk to your employer, make sure you're getting trained, whether it be spending your own time in the evenings going to trainings, or whether you can be sent to some professional training through your employer, right? Just ask those questions, and the worst they're going to do is say no. But like I doubt that they would say no to that, right? Like what's the old saying? It's like you know, what if I train the technicians and they leave? Well,
Yeah.
what if you train the technicians and they stay? Or you,
Hmm.
sorry, excuse me, what if you don't train the technicians and they stay? Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I take a lot of pride and enjoyment out of this trade. And depending on how you look at it, I mean, that can be you too, right? You just got to find your little niche, whether it be the type of equipment you work on, or the maybe you're not working on equipment like we said earlier. Maybe you really enjoy sales, right? Or
Yeah.
supporting and training the industry. There's so many ways to find enjoyment out of it. So go find yours and enjoy it.
Have you been at the company you're at your entire career, or have you worked at a couple different
I
ones?
don't want to say entire career because like I've worked somewhere else before, but like
Okay.
indentured as an apprentice, yes. I started
Okay.
day one as an apprentice, day one with my current employer.
And
So
what are some of the things that have like in your decision to stay there, like what has made it easier for you to just say that you're
all the
gonna stay
things that
there?
I'm trying to harp on for other
Yeah.
young people new to the trade, or not young people, but it's anyone new to the trade. Like
Mhm.
I sat there and I spent my own time, my own money, my own after work time going to get training. My employer then saw that I was committed and they invested
Mhm.
in me as well, right?
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, I never asked for a raise once. Not once.
Okay.
In 17 years have I gone to my well, except for once. There's a story for that, but never once have I asked for anything because like you're sitting there, you're producing, you're working hard, you're enjoying it. They're seeing that you're putting in an effort and they're always coming at you with like a little raise here, a little raise there, right?
Okay.
Um, there was one time though when my wife was and I were expecting our third, and the boss is like, "Oh, you're gonna want some time off, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna want some time off." And if we don't hire somebody, because we were, I don't know, I was working, you know what it's like. I was working over 50 hours a week. So like, if we don't hire somebody, like I'm taking full paternity leave. I'm gone for 6 months. And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't need to do that, right?" And
Yeah.
guess what? We hired somebody.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming like the work environment is also great. You know,
Oh,
there's different things that keep technicians, at a company for that long. It's like
it's
you
so
said that
cool.
they take
It's
care of you, and then the
yeah.
work environment.
It's gotten way more exciting in the last few years as we've grown the team. Like the team that I work with is like freaking awesome. Plus,
Mhm.
the owners are excellent. Like we go on fishing trips, right? Um,
Oh, okay.
Try to go to AHR, do other fun stuff too throughout the year, right? We'll do like a quarterly service meeting, and then I'll like in turn like bring like a manufacturer's rep or some training to be done at the same time when we do like a quarterly service meeting, and then we'll do some fun stuff afterwards, right? So it's a nice atmosphere. It's not like it's go go go, and we're producing stuff and we're expected to do certain things, but there's also times to like sit back, relax, and enjoy what you're doing and have fun, right?
Yeah, and I think I heard you say on other podcasts is like they give you the time off that you need, um,
Yeah.
for like your kids, right? I mean, that's important too.
Yeah, I I selfishly didn't take that time off with my first couple, and I don't know,
Oh,
in my
okay.
mind I just worked and I 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 worked, and I felt that that was the only way I could like prove myself, because I was kept on trying to prove myself to myself. But like when I have other guys I work with and they're like, "Hey, we're expecting a kid." And I'm like, "Hey, listen, don't tell the owners I said this, but like make sure like you book off a couple of weeks, because honestly, you're never gonna get that time back, man. Like you're not."
Yeah.
So like I'll now that I have some clout and been in the trade for a bit, like I'm not shy to be like, "Hey, listen, I know it's last minute, but like one of my kids has a skating field trip in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So next Wednesday, I'm gonna just take the whole day off. I'm gonna like drive drive her to drive her and a couple classmates to the ice rink, and I'm gonna go lace on some skates and like be the cool dad with my kid, right? Those are memories
Yeah.
they'll have for the rest of their life, right? Like it's important to do that.
Yeah, they're gonna remember if you were there or not there,
Yeah.
growing up. So that's important. And I preach that too with my stuff. Even like running a business, I try to make sure I take the time off or figure out a way to be there for the kids. So that's important. And like you said, they take care of you. The work environment's important. So it's really cool that you've been there for that long and
Yeah.
are enjoying it and thriving.
Yeah, man.
Well, I appreciate you for coming on the show, man. It was a really fun conversation, great time, and thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot, Adrian. Anytime, man.
All right, so everybody watching and viewing, I will see you guys.